I just want to ask you about Kurt Zouma. Is he available to play against Leicester? And do you think he should be available to play against Leicester?
The answer to that is yes, he's available to play against Leicester. It's different views, different opinions on should he be available or not. We as a club took the decision that we make him available, and I stand by that.
Say you stand by it, but are you aware of the level of criticism that has been directed at West Ham and also you personally? Because a lot of people are saying that it looks like you're sending out mixed messages in statements saying that the club are going to deal with this with utmost seriousness, and yet Kurt is playing for the club.
Well, I don't think a club could have taken more action any quicker than what they've done at the moment. West Ham have done a really good job of finding maximum wages, and I'm not condoning them. These actions were terrible. We all accepted they were diabolical and none of us liked them. But we've chosen to play them, and we stand by that, as I've already said to you.
I understand that from your point of view and from a football point of view. But then again, are you not concerned that, for instance, club sponsors are suspending their relationship with West Ham and citing not just the incident, but the response to the incident as the reason why they're suspending their relationship?
Yeah, like the situation with it is terrible. The incident, what we're talking about in the video, was terrible. We all totally agree with that. There is nobody in this football club who doesn't agree with that. And no, but sponsorship, if it's getting taken away, then that's something the club will deal with, not me. But as I said, I done it the other night, and I'm repeating myself. We're so disappointed. It's completely out of character from Kurt. We've never seen this in him. He's a really good lad. I'm really surprised by it. We're going to get him some help. He is getting help. So we are trying to do as much as we possibly can as a club, as a team, to help him.
How is Kurt himself? You've said that you're going to get him help. What kind of help are you going to get him? What's his state of mind, and how do you think he'll cope? For instance, playing at Leicester on Sunday.
Well, just like I think with people who maybe have drink and driving offences, most of them have to go and go to classes to learn the reasons and the damage that can be done. I think the RSPCA are going to provide us with some courses for Kurt to understand exactly about animals and how to treat them. We'll do everything we possibly can to make sure that Kurt's looking at it, getting better, understanding it. So we'll, as I say, as a club, we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that we resolve it.
And how is he? What is his frame of mind?
Oh, he's really, really disappointed. He's incredibly remorseful. And, like everybody else, which in life, sometimes you need a bit of forgiveness. And he's hoping that he's forgiven for a bad action. And, we mustn't forget that many of us through our lives will make mistakes. And you're hoping that there's people out there who's going to give you a little bit of forgiveness.
And just my final question on this. Are you dealing with Kurt Zouma in the same way as you would deal with any player in your squad? Or are you giving him preferential treatment because he is such an important player for you?
Treated the exact same way as any other player. I've never done it in my whole career. I've had over 1,000 games. I've never treated any players any different, even though at times you have to. Sometimes you have very good up-and-coming young players. You treat them different for different reasons. Sometimes you have very good senior players who have to be treated slightly different. But if it's regarding disciplinary reasons or anything else, everybody's treated the exact same.
And just turning to the game on Sunday, what kind of challenge are you expecting from Leicester? Because obviously they haven't been in great form recently.
Well, I think Leicester have got a really good side. I think over the years they've done unbelievably well. They were FA Cup winners. There's not too long ago where they were league winners. And I think they were the sort of club you looked at because of the way they built it. You look at their facilities, you look at the way they went about their recruitment. So I have to say that over the years, I think Leicester have been a very good model for teams trying to improve, such as West Ham, which we've tried to do. So they're maybe not quite in the best moment just now, on the best part of the season they've had, but I still think that they're a very strong team. They've got an excellent manager, and it'll be a really tough game for us.
Thank you, Carly. Damien from PLP, please.
Hello, David. Don't want to drag on about Zuma, but how much of a distraction is it proving in terms of preparing for a big game and an important run into the end of the season?
Well, when you're in this business, I've had a lot of incidents in different situations, but I've never had one like this before. So, as a football manager, then it shows you that you never know what you're going to get. And I hope I would never ever get an incident like this. I hope I never will ever again get an incident like this. But as part of being in this job, I've got to say that it's there. We know it's out there. We're really disappointed with it. We'd rather that we weren't making news. I think West Ham have made really, really good news in the last 2 years. I think we've been a football side that a lot of people have looked at. I think we've got so many good players, and including Zuma and that. We've a really good side. And, I'm just sad that the focus has been taken away from what is, at the moment, a relatively good season. Hope it's going to get better. And I think also taken away from the strides we've made in the last year or two. So we mustn't let this get mixed up in what we've done in the last couple of years. And as a football club as well, during the pandemic, the work that the club done in East End of London and all the stuff they've done around those areas was incredible. So we mustn't forget all the good work that the club does by one incident. And that's why we're asking the people out there, for a bit of forgiveness. We know there's been a mistake made, and we hope that people will look at it in a different light.
Leicester have known about the heartache of missing out on Champions League right at the very end of a season for the last 2 campaigns. How important is it that you look at that and perhaps learn a lesson that you really have to seize the moment on occasions like this?
Yeah, and I feel as if it is, but I think we have an opportunity like other teams. But I've got to say, you have Tottenham, you have Arsenal, you have Manchester United. But I think on times going back, recently you'd say West Ham will not be competing against those teams. But now we are, and now we're getting talked about challenging. So we know that we're going to have to play really well. We're going to have to improve on how we're playing at the moment. We're going to have to up our game. But we're capable of it. And at the moment, we're picking up points when we don't think we're playing as well as we should be. But in many ways, I see that as a good thing, because if we can get back to our best form, then hopefully that'll come up with more wins and more points before the end of the season.
Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Emma from BBC.
Afternoon, David.
Hi, Emma.
Just going back to the Zuma decision, it has upset a lot of West Ham fans. I just wonder what your message is to them now.
Well, Emma, I'd say right away is we're completely upset by it as well. We're really disappointed. I can't say it anymore. I'm someone who is a great lover of animals and have them and myself. So if you're talking about West Ham supporters being disappointed, well, there's nobody more disappointed than me and the club as well, because the club are doing so many good things, and we've got ourselves in a really good position with the way the club's working and also with the way the team's playing. So we don't want anything to distract that, and obviously this has. So we're really sorry about upset West Ham supporters, but it was an incident. We hope that they'll all forgive and forget in time and move on. And we need their support. They're really important to us. So for the West Ham supporters who I'm sure are very disappointed by it, I've got to tell you, we all are at the club as well.
And are you concerned in that case? You're talking about forgiveness, that maybe if his teammates have been also disappointed by his actions, it could affect his performance and therefore the team's performance?
It could do, but I think that you've always got to remember that we all make mistakes, whoever we are, in whatever walk of life there's mistakes made, and you also hope that at different times people will say, okay, we accept your apology. Kurt has apologised. The club have done everything they can possibly. Out of a really bad situation, we're trying to get something positive from it. You know, we're making sure that the charities, the animal charities, will benefit greatly from it. So we're doing everything we possibly can to try and get something from it. It's a terrible situation. We admit that, Emma. Nobody's hiding it, but we are trying to make some good come from bad.
On Leicester, Brendan Rodgers has accepted he's under pressure now. How surprised are you by that?
Well, I don't believe Brendan Rodgers can be under pressure because he's ultimately one of the best coaches, one of the elite managers in certainly in the Premier League. But if you were talking in Europe, Brendan Rodgers would be one of the elite managers in Europe. So I find that very difficult to see. I think what it does do, Emma, though, is it shows that, you know, football, you can have good times or bad times, and we have to try and, you know, in the bad times you have to try and find your way through it, get your way through it. But I've got to say, I hope I keep these sort of bad run of form going at the moment. I hope we can try and connect it. But I think Leicester are a really good team. I think they've got some top players, and you know, we're very wary of the difficulty the game poses.
And Declan Rice has given an interview this week in which he's spoken about his ambitions as a player. He says he wants to be winning things, wants to be winning the Champions League, but has also said all this talk about, you know, a transfer is just noise at the moment. Is that good news for West Ham, do you think? Yeah,
because I'll tell you what, he's just said all the words I've probably said to him. No, we want to be in the Champions League. So to win the Champions League, the first thing you've got to do is qualify for it. We want to be challenging the teams at the top, which hopefully for 2 years I've been saying we want to challenge. We've got closer with being in European football. We're now getting ourselves in a position where we're giving the top teams a game. What we're trying to do is continue building on it. Declan's a big part of it, really important player to us, and you know, we want to try and fulfil those ambitions the same as Declan.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. And just finally, James from TalkSport.
Hi, David. How was the criticism that you've faced in the last few days? How do you feel about that?
Well, I understand the criticism because I understand how severe the video was, and what he done was terrible. So I understand the criticism of me personally. But you know, the thing I look at, James, is I know where my own moral compass is. I know where, you know, if it's to do with animals, if people are critical because of you know, the animals, well, there'll not be someone who enjoys their animals more than me. So from that point of view, I can certainly look in the mirror at myself. But I totally understand why people would be disappointed by by my decision, say, to play him, or the club's decision to play him. But that's a decision I made, and I stand by that.
And you've spoken proudly over the last couple of years about the culture you've been able to build at West Ham. I wonder, has this incident divided the dressing room at all?
No, I actually think it's going to make us stronger, James. I think it's one of these situations where, as a club, you know, I think the club have acted brilliantly well in what they've done in a really difficult situation for the club. And it's not an easy situation for the players and this around us, we all understand that. But it's the sort of thing that pulls you together. And sometimes on the road, there's plenty of bumps, and it's not always a straight line. We've got a big bump just now, and we need to try and go over it. And we're doing everything we possibly can.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. All the best.
Thanks, Dave. Camera off, please.